Hello everyone, I'm Amy. I will introduce for you about the function lines in this lesson. In the pattern design system, the main drawing window corresponds to function lines one by one. Each line in the main drawing window corresponds to a function line. Function lines can be introduced in two parts. This part is basic function lines. They may be used when a pattern is drawn. This part is special function lines. They are mainly used for special treatment. Now let's learn the detailed function lines. First, learn the common basic function lines. 201 circle, set the knitting circle and define the package. So in function lines, we choose circle, then right click. Now you can see there are two circle options, circle 1 and circle 2. Circle 1 indicates an internal circle. Circle 2 indicates an external circle. When the external circle includes internal circles, it means when one external circle is executed once, or internal circle will be executed. For example, like for these two lines, we set the circle 1 is 2. It means these two lines will circle 2 times. So those lines is similar like this. Now we set these 4 lines. The circle 2 is 4. It means these 4 lines are executed once, or internal circles will be executed. It's similar like this. First, these 2 lines will circle 2 times. Then it's these 2 lines. Those lines are an external circle. Then those lines will circle 4 times. Those lines is similar like those. Now if you set the color is 255, right click like we set circle 1. Now in there you can see we only can input the number 0 to 128, so we should press the number on the keyboard. Like we fill these 2 lines. It means these 2 lines will circle 9,999 times. Pay attention to the following. When the circle is marked, the starting line of the circle is an odd line, while the ending line is an even line. The rest of is the package parameters. We will introduce this later. 203 cancel knitting. Cancel knitting actions of colors. Generally, knitting of shifting and whole knitting colors should be cancelled. Like in this pattern, in there, sometimes only transfer and shifting actions are required. Knitting actions are not required, then it's necessary to cancel knitting. So in function 203, in this line, right click. Now we can set knitting cancellation. Then this line will cancel knitting, it only transfer and wrapping. 204 reset forbid connect. Set the current line whether connection with the next line. Generally, in there, it will automatically transfer. If you don't want transfer, then in function 204, like in this line, right click. Now we can set connection forbiddance. Then those lines will don't transfer. Then compile. Now you can see the difference. There don't have transfer. Now in there, because we don't set connection forbiddance, so there have transfer. 207 density, 209 speed, and 210 batching can set the density, speed, and batching segments of the machine file. Those function lines are of the same type. They are all knitting parameters, and the set segments are identical in general. For example, now we shape a pattern. Now you can see the density, speed, and batching, the number is similar, so we introduce this together. Right-click on function line 207. Now you can see there have density knitting, stitch when transfer. Generally, only these two kinds of density segments are used. The first row shows the knitting density. The second row shows the transfer density. Similarly, the speed is divided into the knitting speed and transfer speed. Batching is divided into rolling in knitting and rolling in transfer. 208 shaker sets the shaker direction, needles, and mode. Now in this pattern, in function line 208, right-click. Now you can see the first row you can set the racking direction. Now the color 0 is right set, color 1 is left set, the default is color 1. The second row is set the number of needles, click, then input the number of racking needles. Generally, it's like this. Now you can see. The third row shows the racking needle position. Generally, during knitting, the default needle position is needle tooth alignment. The color 1 is ester position, is the needle alignment position. In this position, the front bed needle and back bed needle can't be used for forming needles at the same time, like color 3 and color 10. Otherwise, the front bed needle and back bed needle will be subject to collision. Generally, the racking position of transfer, wrap, and other organization is the ester position. When wraps are knit, the front bed needle and back bed needle for stitches are not in the same group, but are adjacent to each other. If the spacing of the adjacent front bed needle and back bed needle is larger in the needle tooth alignment, so use the ester position, and the knit wrap organization will be more elastic. Now, in there, right-click, we can manually set the shaker position. Then fill those lines. If you don't manually set the shaker position, then you can click Compile, then tick the Auto Rack Ester position. After this position is ticked, even if you don't manually fill the position, it will automatically change ester position. Now, like in there, because they don't have full needle knitting, the needle position will automatically change into ester position. In there, because they have full needle knitting, so there is needle tooth position. 215 and 216 yarn carrier. 215 can set the ordinary yarn carrier, and 216 sets the wet yarn carrier. Now in this pattern, now you can see this part there use two yarn carrier. The ordinary young carrier is 3 and white young carrier is 7. Now in this part, there are only one young carrier, and the young carrier is 3. Now in there use young carrier 5. On function line 215, if you set the young carrier is 255, it means dolphin. Now like these two lines, because there the color is 8, so it means the front dolphin, then compare. Now you can see. Now if we fill these two lines, the color is 9. It means back dolphin. Now you can see. 220 end mark. Set the knitting ending line. The ending line must be filled in each pattern. Now, in this pattern, find the end line. Now you can see there have an end mark. If you don't set the end mark, now when you compare, you can see there will appear end mark not set, automatically set or not set end mark. Now you can click yes or not. Now we click yes. Now you can see there will automatically set the end mark. Then compare. Now you can see the pattern is like this. We also can manually set the end mark, like we set the end mark in there. Then compare. Now you can see only the actions below the ending line are executed during compare. Knitting actions above the ending line are not executed. Only the small package image can be identified on the ending line. Other knitting actions are ineffective. Now we reset the end. Find the end line. Right click, then we set end. 222 separate transfer, set separate transfer and its mode. When a new pattern is created, color 1 is marked on this line. Now you can see. Right click, now you can see the color 1 is separate transfer 1 by 1, then compare. Now you can see the transfer is like this. Now if we choose 1 by 2, then we fill those lines, then compare. Now you can see the transfer is like this. The rest of you can try by yourself. 225 comb. Set the comb mode. If the machine supports the comb, now in there we tick comb, and in there we can choose the comb mode, like we choose 2 by 2. Now you can see in function line 225. There have an color 1 and color 3 mark, then right click. Now you can see the color one is set startup comb. It means the comb will hook elastic yarns after this line is knit. Color 3 is auto press yarns. On this line, this color sequence is used for pressing of the comb. This line of color sequence doesn't indicate any knitting action. On function line 215, no yarn carrier number is filled on this line and auto press yarn mark on 225. It indicates the automatic pressing line. After compile, now you can see the pressing action. If you want to directly see the pressing action, you can click Craft Date, Advanced, Other, and in there, we don't tick Auto Press Yarn mode. We don't tick this. Okay. Now you can see there will appear the pressing action. Knitting motion with comb. That is, the selected comb pattern will not be used. Use the comb pattern in the computerized flat knitting motion. When color 2 is filled, it indicates that the comb pattern in the motion will be used on this line. Special function lines 213. Rotary distance and tack with jacquard. Set the rotary distance segments and the tack mode of Lycra organization. This function line is mainly used for setting the Lycra type of jacquard. Now in this pattern, in function line 213, right click. The first row shows the rotary distance. The default value is 1. The second row shows the Lycra tack type of jacquard. The setting is only effective for jacquard color. Those are Lycra modes. Now if you select front back 1 by 1 tack, then fill those lines, then compile. Now you can see the tack mode is like this. Now if we select front back full tack, then fill those lines. Now you can see the difference. The rest of you can try by yourself. 214 System Lock and Knitting Type. Set system lock and special functions of Intasha and jacquard. There are many hidden special treatments on this function line. In addition to the system locking function, also including special treatment of the jacquard, Intasha, and yarn carrier. There are 4 rows on function line 214. The rows have different functions. The first row set system locking effective for all patterns. Now in this pattern, in function 214, now you can see the first row there don't fill anything, then compile. Now you can see there. Now you can see the knitting. There have left and right system. Now let's see the transfer. They also use left and right system. Now in function 214, right click. Now if we set left system knitting and transfer locking, then we fill the O pattern. Then compile. Now you can see the knitting is only left system. The transfer is also only left system. Now, if we select 6 left system knit and lock, then fill those lines, then compile. Now you can see the left system knitting locking. The left system is locked during knitting. Now, and all systems can be locked during transfer. The following options are also similar. You can try by yourself. System locking is only effective for the start line. System locking on compile. In there, those options are effective for the whole pattern. It's not necessary to start line by line. The second row, you can set the jacquard back organization in Tasha split mode and force the transfer direction. Now you can see in this pattern, now there fill 62. Now you can see 62, the back organization is back. Now compile. Now you can see the back organization is like this. Now if we choose match one by one, then we fill those lines, then compile. Now you can see the back organization is like this. The rest of you can try by yourself. For Intasha, you can set the first head transfer direction and set early knitting and later knitting. Now transfer in this way. In general, the head direction for two adjacent lines are opposite. Now if you set first the knitting direction like left to right for these lines. Now those 4 lines, the head is in the same direction. The third row jacquard, you can set jacquard group and force the knitting direction. Jacquard group, it will be introduced in details in the section jacquard. First, the knitting direction is similar. The first, the transfer direction. You can try by yourself. The first row, Intasha discontinue will be introduced in details in the section Intasha. Okay, this lesson and here. See you next time.